The Galactic Confederacy declared victory in a single broadcast that echoed across 1,000 worlds. Humanity, once defiant, was broken. Earth lay in ruins, its cities reduced to ash, its skies choked with smoke. The voice of High Commander Zaltharis crackled through every channel. The human experiment is over. They defied us. They refused to pay their dues to the greater galactic order. And now, they have been corrected. The camera feeds didn't lie. Monuments toppled. Streets silent. The vibrant pulse of Earth civilization smothered beneath the Confederacy's iron grip. The reparations were merciless, natural resources stripped, surviving populations conscripted into labor camps, and cultural heritage erased. The archives of humanity's achievements, struggles, and triumphs deleted. In their place, a single narrative: humans, the failed primates who dared to challenge their betters. But the Confederacy misunderstood what it means to be human. Beneath the surface of this broken world, something stirred. Something old, something relentless. In the shadows of a ruined bunker, a man stood over a flickering console. Captain Elias Kane's face was lined with soot and exhaustion, but his eyes burned with something the Confederacy hadn't accounted for. The broadcast ended, and the silence was suffocating. His team shifted uneasily behind him. 4 days, they'd listened as their world was dismantled piece by piece. They heard the enemy gloat, heard the promises of endless servitude. The Confederacy believed the war was over. Kane's jaw tightened. He smashed his fist against the console, cracking the surface. The noise startled the others, but no one spoke. Finally, he turned, voice low but unyielding. "They want us to pay," he said. His knuckles bled, crimson against cold steel. "We've paid in blood. In ash. In silence. But we are not done." The team straightened. The weariness was still there, but so was something else, a spark. "They think humanity is broken," Kane continued, his voice growing stronger. "They think we'll kneel. But they've forgotten who we are. We don't break. We endure. And when we rise, when we strike back, we'll remind them why you never corner a human." The old stories of Earth's past, of impossible wars and impossible victories, hung in the air. Humanity had always survived. Always adapted. This time would be no different. The console crackled to life one last time as the Confederacy's broadcast repeated. The alien voice dripped with arrogance. "The humans have been taught their place. They will never rise again." Kane's gaze didn't waver. He reached down, tore the device from the wall, and threw it to the ground. It shattered beneath his boot. "We survived the fall," he said, turning toward the tunnel's exit, toward the burning horizon beyond. "Now we make them pay." The Confederacy believed Earth was pacified. On the surface, it seemed true. The cities were silent, the infrastructure gutted, and the population reduced to fractured enclaves. Patrol ships hovered like vultures, scanning for signs of organized resistance. The enemy was confident. Overconfident. Beneath that illusion of control, humanity adapted. In the caverns, ruins, and shadows, the resistance moved. The Confederacy's technology, once foreign and untouchable, became familiar. Engineers dissected captured drones, learning their weaknesses. Scientists repurposed alien energy weapons, crafting devices the Confederacy's manuals deemed impossible. They didn't fight head-on. Humanity never won wars through brute force alone. They struck supply lines, ambushed isolated patrols, and turned every civilian into a potential threat. Resistance cells operated independently, connected only by a single whispered message: "We don't pay. We collect." Captain Kane sat in a dimly lit command center, staring at a holographic map littered with enemy positions. Supply routes, communication hubs, fleet locations all gleaned from intercepted transmissions. His voice, calm and cold, echoed through encoded channels to cells across the planet. "They think their technology makes them untouchable," Kane said. "But their strength is their weakness. They rely on systems they believe we can't crack. We're going to prove them wrong." The first strike came at Lunar Station Theta. Confederacy officers lounged in complacency when the reactor detonated, vaporizing their command center. The broadcast of the destruction spread faster than official censorship. Whispers followed, "The humans are still fighting." The Confederacy responded with brutality. Civilian districts were leveled in retaliation. Entire neighborhoods vanished in columns of plasma fire. But the resistance didn't falter. Every act of cruelty hardened their resolve. For every district destroyed, another cell rose. On the fringe colonies enslaved by the Confederacy, the broadcast spread. Images of human insurgents dragging alien officers from command centers. Of Zalthari dreadnoughts gutted from within. The oppressed watched, and hope ignited. The Confederacy's myth of invincibility cracked. In a captured enemy bunker, Kane addressed his team. Behind him, the Confederacy's own communications network displayed footage of the latest attack, a Zalthari supply depot reduced to molten slag. The officers watched in silence as he spoke. "They're learning," Kane said. "But too late. They treated us like animals to be tamed. They forgot that humans don't submit. We adapt. We endure. And when we hit back, we make sure they never forget." The next phase was already in motion. The Confederacy's primary command station orbited Jupiter, shielded and well-guarded. But human engineers had discovered a vulnerability in the station's gravitational stabilizers, something the original designers never considered a lesser species capable of exploiting. Kane stood as the command channel connected to every resistance group worldwide. The image of Earth, scarred but unbroken, filled the screens. "We've taken their weapons. We've cracked their systems. Now we break their chains. Prepare for the next strike. We started this fight in the dirt. We're going to end it in fire." The Confederacy fleet arrived in Earth's orbit with overwhelming force. Hundreds of warships, sleek and predatory, descended with the confidence of conquerors. They broadcast one message across every frequency. "Human insurgents, your resistance ends today. Surrender, and your species will be spared annihilation." There was no reply. Earth remained silent. No transmissions, no defensive systems activating. Just the ghostly, battered remains of a broken civilization. The Zalthari commanders hesitated, confused by the lack of resistance. Their sensors detected faint energy signatures across the planet's surface, weak, scattered, and inconsistent. Nothing resembling a coordinated defense. Then came the first detonation. A pulse from the moon's surface struck the Confederacy flagship. The gravitational stabilizers, carefully calibrated to navigate complex orbital mechanics, twisted in an instant. The ship collapsed inward, crushed by the very forces it relied upon. Panic spread through the fleet. Human forces, hidden beneath layers of debris and false readings, unleashed their ambush. Repurposed planetary defense lasers, once dismissed as obsolete, fired in synchronized bursts. The sky turned into a kill zone. Confederacy warships shattered, their hulls breaking apart like glass. From Earth's surface, human strike teams launched into orbit using captured enemy transports. Captain Kane led the assault, his voice crackling through the comms. "They wanted us to pay. Now we collect." They boarded the Confederacy's command station orbiting Jupiter. The corridors were designed for the tall, slender Zalthari, not for the faster, stronger, and more aggressive human soldiers. The aliens fought with precision, their tactics predictable and rigid. The humans were chaos incarnate, improvised tactics, brutal close-quarters combat, relentless forward momentum. The command center doors exploded inward. Kane stepped through the smoke, rifle raised. High Commander Zaltharis stood at the control console, eyes wide with disbelief. "Impossible," the commander hissed. "You were broken." Kane leveled his weapon. "You thought we'd stay broken. You never understood what humans are." The commander sneered. "We brought you to your knees. We are eternal. You are insects." Kane's finger tightened on the trigger. "Eternal? No. Just first. And you made the mistake of thinking that made you untouchable." He fired. The plasma bolt hit the commander between the eyes. The body crumpled to the floor. Kane turned to the control console, inserting a stolen data spike. The system's defenses fell in seconds, and Earth's resistance took control of the Confederacy's fleet communication network. Across the galaxy, occupied worlds received the same broadcast. Human soldiers standing over fallen invaders. Zalthari dreadnoughts burning in orbit. The voice of Captain Kane resonated across every enslaved world. We were told to pay for our defiance. We paid in blood, in suffering, in silence. No more. Humanity doesn't pay. We collect. And to the Confederacy, run, hide, or fight. It doesn't matter. The fire has only just begun. The signal ended. The orbital station's reactors went critical. Kane and his team evacuated as the structure exploded, the fireball visible from Earth's surface. The Confederacy's fleet was broken. The myth of their superiority lay in ashes. The Confederacy never recovered. The destruction of their command station over Jupiter shattered more than their fleet, it shattered the illusion of their dominance. The galaxy watched as the once mighty armada fled Earth's orbit, crippled and leaderless. The species that had enslaved hundreds of worlds was now running from the very prey they once mocked. Humanity did not pursue them in anger. The war had never been about conquest or revenge. It was about survival. The Terran Union was born in the ashes of that battle, not as an empire but as a promise. Never again would humanity kneel. Never again would anyone dictate the fate of Earth. Across the Confederacy's former territories, the oppressed rose. The Zalthari, once feared, became the hunted. The resistance had not just liberated Earth, it had ignited a revolution. The Varini broke their chains, slaughtering their overseers. The Talaris, long thought docile, armed themselves with salvaged human weapons. The Confederacy's infrastructure collapsed overnight, its governors and generals vanishing into the void. Earth broadcasted one final message to the galaxy. Captain Kane, face gaunt but unyielding, stood before the camera. His words echoed across worlds both liberated and fearful. We never sought war. We never sought dominance. We wanted only to stand as equals. But when the Confederacy demanded our submission, we showed them what it means to push humanity too far. The image shifted, showing the wreckage of the Confederacy's fleet above Earth, followed by liberated colonies rejoicing in the streets. Kane's voice continued. To those who were once our enemies, know this, we seek no vengeance. If you come in peace, we offer friendship. But if you come again as conquerors, if you seek to make us pay again, remember what happened here. We don't start wars. We end them. The transmission concluded with the symbol of Earth, a blue, scarred world, unbroken. In the years that followed, the galaxy changed. Human technology, once primitive, now rivaled and surpassed that of their former oppressors. But humanity did not build war fleets to dominate. They built defenses, stations, and outposts to watch the void. To listen for the next threat. The Zalthari homeworld, once the heart of the Confederacy, lay abandoned. The species scattered to the edges of the galaxy, whispering tales of Earth with fear and hatred. Among the younger civilizations, humanity became a legend. Not as conquerors or tyrants, but as the species that stood when all others would have fallen. The species that burned the stars to protect their own. On a distant colony world, a child pointed to the night sky. Is it true? She asked her grandfather. Did the Zalthari really try to make the humans pay? The old man smiled, eyes reflecting the faint shimmer of Earth's distant sun. Yes, he said. They tried. And the humans paid in blood. But when the time came for the final price, he paused, gaze fixed on the endless stars. The universe burned instead.